So I'm wearing a really brightly colored hoodie today. Like it's really bright. And I have two stories about that hoodie. So it's like a bonus for the people who don't think I should talk and I should just get to soaping. Always makes me wonder why they keep clicking on the videos. Like you're expecting me to change? Anyway, two stories today. First, where the shirt came from and why it's so brightly colored. Where the shirt came from is the Spin It podcast, and they are amazing. James and Connor, they do a podcast about music, and it's really interesting. Actually, there are two different perspectives with it, and they cover all different types of music. So it's not like really genre specific or generational specific. So it's very cool. Anyway, they were doing a very cool event thing where they were filming for their podcast live. Anyway, they had announced that they started doing merch in that, live stream on Twitch a few weeks ago. And I was in and, hanging out with my Twitch friends or whatever and getting a little tipsy, like you do on a Friday night or whatever it was. Might have been a Monday. Anyway, I thought, cool, I'm going to get some merch. And I clicked on the link and went to their Etsy store and was scrolling through really cool merch. Like, it's very cool. And I came upon this that they named gold. And it's very clearly not gold, like at all, even remotely. It's very, very bright orange, really. And I thought, yeah, I can totally pull off gold. Again, remember, I was tipsy. So I bought it. And then it showed up. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that's super bright. Super bright. And I, put it on. It's very comfortable. I love it a lot. The graphic is very cool. I love all the things. But then I was walking through my backyard doing stuff, and I noticed something. And I don't know if I've ever told you the story about Mr. Soap and Clay's truck. It's a very big truck that we use for like dump runs and stuff, right? And he got a wild hair a few years ago and decided he wanted to try his hand at painting cars with like a spray, an airbrush, a spray, you get it. And so he decided to start with the biggest car that we have, but also the oldest, so it wouldn't be terrible if it was a bad paint job. Anyway, he went through this huge process, picking the colors and the different micas and the sheens and the shimmers and all the things. We had all these little samples, and he finally settled on painting his truck a very dark burnt orange. I mentioned the truck because as I was walking through my backyard doing stuff, I looked over at the truck that's in the backyard because we only use it when we're going to the dump. And I matched the truck. And I thought it was so funny that as soon as he got home, I made Mr. Soap and Clay actually take a picture of me, standing in front of the truck wearing this. So I'll drop that and you can see that too. So, two stories. My shirt matches the truck. They were all connected. Go listen to the Spin It podcast. I'll tell you what we're actually doing in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you are here for day 359 of 365 days of soap. And today, we are talking kind of technical skills regarding how to split batches. And this is important during this time of the year because we're all making wildly bigger batches than we normally do. And so this will just serve as a sort of friendly reminder, just a refresher on the ways that I have found work really well in the splitting of batches. So you can pour multiple, loaves of soap. We'll be using an apple spice soap that I did not make for a secret apple project. That's not what that was. Something different. This one is actually one of A Drop in the Ocean's fall line soaps. And so we've been pouring this for a few years. You may have seen it on the channel before, but we're going to talk about it in different ways. And by different ways, I mean, I'm not going to talk about it really at all. And I'm just going to talk about splitting batches. So let's go to the video so we can do all of that. Hey, hi, how's it going? You guys having a good Saturday? Me too. It's good. It's good times. It's totally not weird that I match my truck. It's very bright. It's a very bright truck. It's a very bright hoodie. Don't drink a mimosa and decide to go shopping on merch stores is the lesson that I have for you today. That's it. That's the whole lesson. Oh, I mean, we're actually also talking about splitting batches of soaps and stuff. So that's fun. I'm also here for that. This is an apple spice soap that I make for a drop in the ocean shop.com for their holiday line. And yet loads of exfoliants go into this bad boy. Seems like it's a lot of exfoliants, but that's a lot of soap that's currently there right now. It is between 15 and 16 pounds of soap in the pot right now because I am splitting the batch for a total of 72 bars. Now, I know when you're working with like a 12 bar batch, right? So, anywhere between 50 and 62 ounces of, soap batter. It's not that big of a deal to just decide, well, hey, I want 70% of the soap to be red and 30% of the soap to be white. That's literally what this is. Those are the measurements. And then just, get your scale out and you have your blended oils, right? And you measure out 70% of your oils. And you also weigh out 70% of your lye solution to go into those oils. And then, just do the thing. You can totally separate batches that way. And I approve of that for sure. I do that quite often. Or if in a 1 pound batch, it's not that, or a 1 dozen bar batch, it's not that big of a deal to just, let the soap sit and get firm in one container while the part that you just weighed out here is, firming up. Here's the problem that I have. In this particular, batch of soap or round of soap, I'm making 72 bars. Now, normally with this, I would make 3 times that at the same time to, get all the molds filled, all the soaps made. And so you're dealing with, in this particular instance, 72 bars, you're dealing with around 21 pounds of oils and soap batter. And so measuring all of that out to then measure off of the big, whatever, can be a bit cumbersome because where are you going to be putting, lots and lots of pounds of, measured out oils if you're not master batching? So there's, that issue. There's a lot of soap batter that you're working with. But 2, the other issue with this is I need that red to go dark. Like I need it to be dark down below. And so I have it on a heating pad right there to do the thing and help out with the gel to make sure it goes dark. But the top of this soap has melt and pour, cinnamon sticks. Melt and pour made to look like cinnamon sticks on the top as part of the design. And you have seen when we have, C-popped, so that means the whole thing can't be C-popped. And you have seen what has happened when we have C-popped. I think this soap specifically, or maybe the pumpkin spice. I don't know. Either way, point is, those embeds on top, well, those toppers, they're going to melt. And so I needed to split the batch at the very beginning in order to give this plenty of time to hit a nice gel and start darkening up before I even think about pouring the white part of it, because I don't want to be putting this in the oven for C-pop because, again, the aforementioned, I don't want to melt the embeds. And so I had to split the batch, and that's what we are doing. Now let's talk about the batch. Now, for something like this, again, while it's very easy to take your 12 bar batch or whatever and just go ahead and separate it out in totality while you are pouring or before you pour and separate the solutions or whatever, I highly recommend, if you are dealing with bigger batches, to go ahead and go back into soap calc and rework your actual totals. It's going to be essentially the exact same as your 100% batch, right? Overall, but just because there's the potential of making a mistake, for like example, with this particular batch. So a 1 dozen bar batch of this would be 38 ounces of oils, right? So fine, just take that, times 70% and you get what, 26 and a half-ish ounces of oils that need to go in for a 12 bar batch. Sure. But this is essentially, well, this is exactly that times 6. And when you have to start doing extra maths, it's best to just go ahead and go back into your soap calc and put that all in proper and have it printed out so you know that you have a point of reference so you don't make any mistakes. I prefer to do it this way for big batches for a number of reasons. One, the biggest reason is going to be you get to control when you pour the next round. And so this is good for layered soaps on a small scale or a giant scale. This is good for giant production. This is good for anything that requires one layer to set up before the other can be poured, and or you have weird extenuating circumstances like mine, wherein I need that bottom to darken up really nicely, but I can't really put any more heat to the batch because we're putting in the melt and pour on top. So I really do recommend just taking your entire recipe, putting it back in soap calc, and then, multiplying it by how much you ultimately end up needing based on your 1 dozen, batch, based on your regular batch size, in order to have a nice frame of reference for every little piece that you're doing. I have had too many instances wherein I had just scribbled something down on a sheet of paper on the fly for a small batch or a big batch. Like, we're just splitting this 70-30, or we're splitting this into 6 equal parts or whatever. And then I can't read my notes, or I realize at the end, oh, I think I messed up on the calculations because I'm just doing it in my head. Just don't do that. That's what soap calc is for. Plus, then you have all the information just already printed out or, up on your computer screen or whatever. So you know what to do for your ingredients list and all the jazz. And for slightly larger batches like this, could I have mixed up the entire 21 pounds of, soap batter and just let the white sit indefinitely in its container until I was ready to pour it on top? Yeah. Would it have been really heavy and hard to manage? Yeah. Would it have gotten really, really thick while I was waiting? Yeah. Would I potentially be getting, air pockets and stuff between the layers and on the sides as a result of overly thick batter? Yeah. Would I be frustrated because I had to mess with overly thick batter? Because I hate that. Yeah. And so I like to do it this way and actually just split the entire recipe, the entire batch at the start. Because if you already know all of your oils, your percentage of coconut, your percentage of olive, and your super fat and all that jazz, you can easily just adjust in your soap calculator, whatever one you use, to have this piece, to have the red piece of the soap, all out and ready to go. So you just pour that, and then have the white piece all out and ready to go. So you just pour that. And then you're less stressed and you're less annoyed, and the potential for error is, greatly reduced. So there it is. And these are the aforementioned cinnamon sticks made out of melt and pour that I was telling you about. This is actually the first year in several years that I have made them myself, because I had a soapprentice working on this and they couldn't wrap their minds around it. And I also could not wrap my mind around it, but they were getting really stressed. And so I'm like, don't do that. Don't do something that makes you stressed. This is on me ultimately at the end of the day. But so I had to make this cinnamon sticks. It was fun. It was a good time. They look super cute. And spoiler alert, I actually managed to put them all in the exact right place for every round of these that I made this year. So none of them got cut through. Yay, me. Okay, and on to the cut of this guy, and look at that bright sunshine shining through, messing up my lighting. How dare you? Just kidding. I am enjoying every little bit of sunshine that we have right now because we're not going to have it for much longer. But there it is, the cut, and the bottom will thankfully continue to darken up because right now it looks a little bit like a meat soap, but you know, it does darken up and stops looking like a meat soap pretty early, so that's good. But it's a very cute bar. Love it. It's been a very popular bar for a drop in the ocean for a very long time. So I'm, glad that I managed to make those damn, cinnamon stick looking things on my own without Georgia May. She was one who originally designed this bar, I believe. Well, I don't know if she was one that originally designed it. That actually might have come from Christina. Like, she said that that's what she wanted. But I was not the one that figured out how to make the cinnamon sticks a thing. That was Georgia May. And so I had to figure that out with new soap apprentices this year. So that was fun. But, success. None of them got sliced through, and I'm super happy about that. But yeah, tis the damn season of big, giant batches of things, and me scrambling to get through all of my wholesale accounts because they only have, another 10 days, I think, to get their holiday orders in, or they're not going to get them in time for, sales, holiday sales. So as a result, they're all coming in fast and furious, and it's really crazy, and it's a lot, really, and lots of big batches. And I realized that we hadn't talked about big batches in a very long time on the channel, and splitting batches and doing things. So I thought we might be due for a refresh, because we're getting new sudsers every day. If you're a new sudser today at this exact video, say hi. It'd be weird if you joined the channel for just this video, especially considering I started out with just probably the weirdest of weird stories that I tell, and I get a twofer, 2 stories. So, in the off chance that you're a new sudser today because of this video and you hit subscribe, thank you. Say hi in the comments. But there it is, day 359, the apple spice. And there it is, some tips and tricks on how to split batches. And yes, I did show this in big form, like doing multiple soap loaves, but this works for every type of soap you could do as well. It's what I did for the melt and pour hybrid soaps for the crystal soaps that I made. It's what I did for the pencil soaps as well, 2 different batches, so I can control when I pour and not have to worry about anything being overly thick. So there's that. I hope you guys had fun today. I always have fun when I'm with you. Thank you very much for existing, for being a part of the channel. Special thank you to my sudsers. Thank you. You guys give me life. You are everything. Keep being awesome. Keep being you. I'm out of here for today. Go check out the Spin It podcast. Seriously. James will tell me if you didn't. But I'll see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.